now and forever. Amen.
Now when I saw the now when I saw the last names now when I saw the last names
we reached a bit of a crisis in terms of how can we maintain what we've always had when the resources are not there. And then we had the economic crisis of the last 2 years kind of come and kick in as well. Through that time we were talking more about stewardship, learning more about it, trying to involve a team of people in the cathedral community who could talk about it. The idea to start a capital campaign to replace some of those reserves got people thinking about how we endow the future, how we take care of our grandchildren the way our grandparents took care of us because of endowments in the church that have been around for a long time. And I think all of those things came together in a kind of synergy that allowed us to say, okay, it's time we talked seriously, provided some good training for each other, made this as important a part of who we are as anything else we do. I don't think we're out of the woods. I don't think that we won't continue to have lots of challenges. I think that we've set in place some systems that can carry on, that we've created an expectation that people will be asked to give, and that they will be asked seriously to give, and that what they give will be put to good use. We have spoken clearly and cogently, I think, on giving levels, on generosity, on proportional giving. We are as transparent as we can be in terms of how we ask and what we do with the money. We regularly communicate with people not only our needs but also how we're doing, what we're spending the money on. For 2 years now we have taken a particular giving level or number of giving levels and have focused on those groups and have said, for example, we have written specific letters to people who might be giving in the $5 to $10 a week range and asking them to increase their giving by $2 or $3 per week, and informing them what kind of a difference that will make in our total budget, what kind of a difference that makes in our ability to do ministry. We try and write to people 3 or 4 times a year. The letters are always signed by Jim Newman, our stewardship guy, and by me. One of the things that I do, because I believe that clergy need to be heavily involved in this and need to take ownership of stewardship matters as much as other matters, is that I sign all the letters, I sign all the receipts. I take quite seriously my role in thanking people and acknowledging special gifts. We try and include everyone in what we ask. That the widow's mite story still to me is very important. That everyone can give. For someone, giving $1 a week is a big gift. We trimmed our budget significantly. We cut 1 full-time clergy job. We reduced the number of hours per week of the organist position. We're a leaner, I think healthier operation. It's hard to figure out how to do all the work with fewer people, but it's been good for us to go through that exercise. And we reduced our expenses so that we could show that we were being as faithful and as cognizant of resources as we could. We have 50 to 60 kids here every day of the week so that they go to school with a full stomach. And the fact that we're so involved with our own outreach organizations on the street. We heard in a sermon here recently from a guest preacher that he was talking to a person who runs an art gallery store on James Street North, and James Street has turned into a bit of an art haven, and this man, who's very involved in some of the things we do around here, has no church affiliation that I'm aware of at all. He talks about our cathedral, talks about the city's cathedral and the neighborhood's cathedral. And that's the kind of work that we've really worked hard at, and that's the kind of mission that we can point to, and I think that's what converts people to realize how important their support for us is.
It is spoken in the heart. It's a faith so deep within and unbroken.
People have been generous, people have responded. I think people here understand that they are blessed, that they have a lot, that no matter how much we don't have, we have more than we could ever deserve, more than we could earn, and that we have a responsibility to give that back and to share that with God's kingdom. We find that the response of people to our need for volunteers is high and rewarding, and I think is connected to the fact that we are involving them in the stewardship of the parish as well. We don't say to people, just be a good volunteer, we don't need to talk to you about your treasure. We talk to people about their treasure, and I think because we talk openly and honestly, it helps them become better and more involved volunteers. Sacrificial giving is still an important part of what Christian stewardship is all about, but I think we also have to make a case for what we as a church are doing to transform the world. How are we participating in God's mission in the world? Because if we can't say some pretty important things about that, then I think we've lost whatever right we think we might have to ask people to support us. Because it's just not enough to say, here we are, we've always been here, and we always will be here. We have some very generous people who will always support us. But we also have people who I know support what we do, not just that we are, but support us for what we do, and that we need to be able to demonstrate clearly and succinctly how what we do makes a difference. We don't live in a world any longer where we can count on the kind of support we might have received 50 years ago, nor do we live in a world where there aren't strong, valuable, and important competing interests for people's time and treasure. And we need to be, I think, as excited and exciting. I think we need to be as clear about why we're in the business we're in. I think we need to be as focused on why we do what we do as all those other askers in the community are. First is that there must be preaching about money regularly and faithfully from the incumbent priest. And secondly, there must be laity telling their stewardship story. To me, the imperative about preaching about stewardship is to tell the story of God's abundant grace that is poured out on us so overwhelmingly that we can't begin to understand it, in a way that we never could earn or deserve, and that if God can be that generous with us, including the gift of His only child, then surely our response to a generous God can only be one of generosity. Generosity of attitude, generosity of spirit, generosity of treasure, generosity of being open and accepting people, generosity in welcoming the stranger, generosity in being the kind of church that builds the kind of kingdom that God asks us to do.